I wanted to do music full time. I wanted to, go out to Los Angeles or go to Nashville.
Oh, yeah.
I tried to go to CMC. I was like,
dude, did you?
I tried to fill out the application for it. I
so
got
dope.
accepted. Yeah, because we would have been there at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like courses and stuff weren't working out. And so
You would have, honestly, you would have thrived.
I know, dude. I know I would have loved it so much. It would have been
We
good.
need to go to Nashville together.
I would. Yeah, I went after, I think it was right before COVID. I went with a couple of my friends. I'm like, I have friends down here. They have, they're on record labels and stuff like that. I want to find work. So I was going out between there and Los Angeles. I had a job lined up out in LA, a place to live out there with guys from Karen, and it just didn't work out. I went to Nashville, met a Calvary Chapel pastor down there. It was like a 10-person church. And he had done music his whole entire life. He's like 35 years. He was in the industry, dropped out of high school. And I'm like, I'm down here to see if I could find music. And he's like, the best piece of advice I could give you, because I've been in this industry my whole life. He's like, go home. And I'm like, what? Go home? And he's like, yeah. He's like, go home. If you want to do music, do it in your area, man. He's like, there's so many places. Nashville's a 10-year town. Like, you have to build up rep and rapport to get noticed down here. And I'm like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. So I went home, got into coffee. We can talk about that more later. I'm a huge coffee snob now.
Oh, we got to, okay. I'm going to put that on here. We got to talk about coffee.
We can talk about coffee later. I worked at a coffee shop for 2 years and loved it. And then ended up transferring and started working for my home church, Calvary Chapel. Didn't want to work in a church, but my degree and all that kind of stuff lined up with it. I was worship and music. Didn't want to work in a church. And then years later, it kind of came back around, and it's like the best job I have. I can do music every single week. That's and so art and graphics. And
are you worship leader in that church?
I am one of the worship leaders of the church. So my boss, Andrew, he is the head worship leader. And then I'm underneath him, and I support the digital media and photography, videography, take some graphic design projects on sometimes, and social media. So it's like a whole bunch of different things. I got everything that I want in like one little package, and get to serve the church, which is awesome. So,
all right, I have so many. I
know. I like dude, covered my whole life there.
We've like chatted. I don't even know half this stuff. Okay, first. Okay, I gotta recover after this. Okay, one, that job sounds like so much fun. Like working at church and like doing all that stuff. Like seems like so much. That's like your full-time job.
That is my full-time job.
That's so dope.
Yep.
That's awesome, because like you get to spend time, I'm sure, songwriting, I'm sure working, like doing rehearsals, working on your craft, all that kind of stuff. And it's like you get paid to do that. Yeah.
Which is a huge blessing. And it never feels like that too. It's never like, oh my word, I'm here to like collect a paycheck. I'm just doing something that I love, and it's part of my life. It's always been a part of my life. It's part of my faith, and I get to pour into other people and work with youth kids and stuff like that and train them up, because I remember like I was in junior high when I started doing this. So I get to work with those kids, and I get to work on my craft and just make like, excellent music and excellent worship for the church and all that kind of stuff. And then, I have the freedom to do other things at the same time, because there's so many people in the church, and everyone does different stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah,
that's awesome. So like, it seems like from the beginning, like you had a lot of people like really pushing you and like really supporting you in this. Like, how did that really like affect you? Like, it seemed like your mom was like, we're going to do this. Like, we're going to make this happen. I kind of want to know, like, are your parents musicians, musically inclined?
No. So they both did marching band in high school, but they would tell you, they're like, no one in our family is musically inclined. My dad's side has some musicians, but nobody like really took off with it and wanted to pursue it. It was more me. My sisters played a little bit too, but my mom's like, he's definitely gifted in it. He's gifted in the arts. Like, I want to push him in this direction. And then there's, like 5 people I could rattle off that really cultivated and pushed me to kind of go into the next level and stuff like that.
Yeah, it really seemed like you had a lot of people on your journey that like affirmed your calling, which is like really, really cool and like really, really, really unique, I feel like, because a lot of people, it's like a lot of like a solo kind of thing where it's like, I just got to believe in myself kind of thing. And people are like, don't do it. But it really seemed like people were like, yo, you should definitely do that. Like, how did that affect how you even like were like, I'm going to go to Karen for like music, and you like worship leading, all that kind of stuff? Like, how'd that affect your mindset of like having so much support behind you with that?
Yeah, it was both my parents are super supportive of it, especially like later into high school and then trying to figure out what I wanted to do. they were like, if you want to pursue music, like that's what you're gifted in, so go do it, And my sister was already going to Karen at the time,
Yeah.
Steph. So I was like, this makes sense. I'm just gonna go to Karen. It's close by. I got great scholarship through them. I had a decent audition when I went. It was not the best, but they were super gracious, and so I was willing to learn and all that kind of stuff. Because I had no theory background. At that point, it was all learning
Mm.
by watching and learning through the experience of it, and especially having like jazz and all these different backgrounds. Like you are forced to watch people play and adapt on the fly. But yeah, everyone was like super supportive. I did have one person tell me not to do it, and that was like huge in my mind. He's like, it was a dude at church, and he's like, you need to have a fallback. He's like, there's no shot you're gonna make it anywhere. Even just doing music, it sounds fun, but you need to have like a fallback.
Yeah.
And I was like young. I was like a sophomore in high school, and I had no idea what Big World was.
Yeah.
And yeah, he told me that, and it like kind of floored me. But I worked through that. I'm like, no, I'm gonna go to school for music. I love it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna make it happen,
Yeah.
and just see what doors open up. And
Yeah.
clearly, there's been a lot that have opened up that I did not think that
Yeah.
were gonna open, and it's been the best thing. So
Yeah, it seemed like you had enough voices saying do it, that one voice is like not gonna completely crumble
yeah.
your dreams and like your
Yes.
thoughts behind it.
Yes.
Dude, okay. That's wild. I think you would have survived, like thrived and
I think I
survived so well.
would've
I
too.
think the thing is though with Nashville, I definitely agree with his with that guy that told you to go home.
Mhm.
Like I definitely agree with that
Mhm.
because I had a stint where I was like, I'm gonna go to Nashville.
Sure.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna like really work at it. But like as I even like was reflecting and hearing from other people, it's like for personally, I felt like God was opening up a lot of opportunities here
Mhm.
to do music, do other things like that creatively
Right.
that to develop me. That was like going to Nashville was like completely just like blank slate,
Sure.
which sounded really fun and cool. But like in hindsight, it's like it actually was a blessing because for me, it's like, and everyone's different, but for me, it was like building here. If you establish where you're at, then you'll like when you go there, it's like I actually can like go there with like a foot
Right.
forward instead of being like, hey, help, I want to do this, and like you're working at like an odd and ends job and stuff like that.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like I feel like if you went down to Nashville now, you have a wife, you have a good like career here, and you
Mhm.
can just like fly multiple times down there, start getting your feet wet, and then you can really like if you want to transition, you can transition like well, not just
Sure.
like I'm just gonna throw myself at it,
Sure.
which is like I think that was great
Yeah.
advice.
Yeah, it was. I've actually since seen that same pastor. We do an East Coast Pastors Conference at Calvary Chapel of Philly.
Yeah.
And there's like thousands of dudes that fly in for this. And I'm like sitting in their coffee shop and being a coffee snob. And I like see this guy.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
I'm like, that's Pastor Chris. And I'm like, I need to go. Like, I haven't seen him since before COVID. It was a weekend. It was like a 3-day,
Yeah.
weekend quick trip. Like, we're going to go down to Nashville and we're going to see what they got down there. And I'm like, no way this guy remembers me. And he's got this little Southern twang. I'm like, hey, Pastor Chris, do you remember me? Like, I'm that kid from Philly that came down years ago. He's like, oh, yeah, you that kid, man. And like, how you doing? And I'm like, I'm good. I'm like, I took your advice. I came back and I'm working for the church now. Like, that's what I ended up doing with my life. And I love it. And he's like, oh, praise the Lord. And we like prayed and all that kind of stuff. And it was like one of those things, like full circle, seeing how, I wanted something so bad. And
Yeah.
the more that I chase it, the more I put the blinders on to what God wanted for my
Yeah.
life. And I think I said this at the beginning. I've been able to do more music things now
Yeah.
than I did before. Have more people and different musicians and stuff like that that are in my sphere of influence now that I would have had if I would have thrown myself down in Nashville or if I would have went out to LA or something like that.
Yeah.
And the freedom to do it, because that's another thing too. Like you have a full-time job, you have a wife, you have like things going on, and like trying to invest and do music stuff is like difficult.
Yeah.
But all those people that I'm friends with who are incredibly skilled musicians, they're all doing the same thing. They're in that same boat, but they still love the craft. They still love getting in the studio. They still love going to perform and stuff like that. And they're just good people, and they love the craft of music and they really care about it.